We actually adopted Jules right from birth, and we kind of knew that she had a good chance of having Alagille syndrome. And so shortly after she was born, kind of knew right away that she was going to have some liver issues. Before she could get listed for a liver transplant, they found out she had pulmonary artery stenosis. So thankfully, they had a great doctor here to do that heart surgery. So we packed up our bags and came out here on December 4th of 2021 for what was supposed to be 2 to 3 weeks. And it turned into 601 days. Her heart surgery kind of took its toll on her body. She ended up having to be opened up like 3 times. We watched her code in the ICU, and we got escorted out of the room and didn't know what was going to happen. She ended up getting listed for her liver then right away while she was in the ICU, and ended up with a liver transplant. With all the stuff that kind of happened, her kidneys weren't working, so she was on dialysis even during her liver transplant surgery. She wasn't strong enough to get a kidney transplant. So we were just hanging out doing dialysis 3 to 4 days a week, and we were living at the Ronald McDonald house the whole time. We were told about another family that had a daughter about her age also having a liver transplant. And it was funny because the chaplain at the hospital kept saying, this other family, I think you guys would just be a really good resource and just really have a lot in common and be able to support each other.
In April of 2022, Balin went from a happy, healthy, normal kiddo to completely sick. We literally woke up one morning and she had hives all over her body. So we took her to the pediatrician and they administered epinephrine because they thought she was having an allergic reaction. And then a few days went by and her eyes started becoming jaundiced. Took her back to the doctor. They did labs. Her liver enzymes came back at 7,400, which normal is 0 to 50. We got on a helicopter and flew to Masonic Children's Hospital. From there, from admission to transplant was 10 days. The doctor said at one point that we didn't have another day to wait. We had a daughter prior to Balin getting sick that passed away from SIDS. So having a child in the PICU and pretty much the doctor's telling us that she's knocking on death's doors, that was very difficult to process and get through that part of it. She had her transplant and we remained in the ICU for about a month. Everything with transplant went really well. And then we remained in Minneapolis after transplant for 187 days. Everybody at the hospital kept saying that we needed to meet Rena, Tyler, and Jules because we were in the ICU at the same time. Everyone kept saying that we needed to meet up, and we're both just going through chaos. So obviously was not a priority to make friends. I went downstairs to grab a water or something, and they were in the lobby, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that you're the family from North Dakota, right? I broke the ice by giving Jules some tube stickers for her feeding tube. But yeah, that's kind of how it all blossomed.
Literally within 10 minutes of meeting, it was instant connection.
When we met downstairs, it was in the evening, in the dining room at RMH.
I creeped you out, I think. Are you the Johnsons?
And yeah, from that day that we met, I don't think there's a day that we haven't talked or texted.
No. I've never had someone I could depend on so much.
Yeah.
She's not very good at answering the phone.
No, but I'm great at texting. I do answer, I call back.
When I was talking to Rena, we were just briefly talked about Jules' story and what she was still needing, what she had been through. And in that conversation, I said, well, I'll absolutely, I'll donate for her. I'll give her my kidney.
Right away, Kelsey said, well, if she needs a kidney, I'll give her one. I said, well, thanks, but hopefully we don't go down that road, and we just met you.
I went back up to my room and I filled out the application to donate. That was in August, and then we went until the next year, May. We finally were able to do our surgeries and she was able to receive her kidney.
There was no stopping Kelsey. She just had her mind made up and she donated her kidney. So there was 3 kidney donors and 3 recipients that day. That made a chain, and Kelsey gave her kidney so that Jules could get a kidney that day.
What's the most important for me was that the mom or the caregiver, the primary caregiver, was not trying to recover from their own surgery while trying to help their child. And like going through that recovery, I know how impossible it would have been for her to be bedside with Jules. We opted for the paired exchange program. I'll give mine if you give yours. Like, and it just kind of like everybody trades around. Jules and I listed, and it wasn't even a week later that we had gotten a call saying that we were matched. So in our chain of donation, we have 6 people. So Jules actually received her organ from a gentleman in Pennsylvania. So then it was him, and then Jules, and then me, because I was her donor. My kidney actually went to Mayo in Rochester, and her donor's kidney went to somebody in Arizona. So there's the 6 people chain, and they're all over the place. When you've been through stuff like this, and you have no choice, really. I mean, someone has to be the strong one for the little ones that are going through it. And I always tell Rena sometimes, like, you don't have to be this strong. It's okay to cry. Like, you can cry in front of Jules. She'll understand. Like, it's okay to show them. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna cry. It's okay to show them emotion and show that you're worried or you're scared.
Most people on the outside of this don't understand what it's like to have a kid in the hospital or go through any of this stuff. Everybody that's inside that house knows what you're going through and how hard it is, and it's really interesting when you have conversations with the Ronald where it's like, what are your lab values? And like talking about all these medical things where nobody else would understand that, and everybody inside that house does. And you really create these weird bonds that are just like so special because like somebody's with you no matter what. You can walk down to the dining room and find somebody to vent to, and it's fantastic.
Even just visiting with someone who else had a bad day, or, you know, it's crazy how it can take your mind right off of whatever you thought you were in at that minute, and you can just change it up a little bit for even 20, 30 minutes.
I don't know how we would have financially made it through what we went through without the Ronald McDonald house. The meals alone, like if you come out here and you don't stay at the Ronald and you stay at like a hotel or whatever, the meals alone for a family of 4 is, you know, $40 3 times a day. They provide housing, they provide rides with the shuttle, they take care of the siblings, they like all that they do for everybody involved is absolutely incredible.
Exactly like they say, the house that love built. Everybody at the Ronald house like became like our support system.
So Bailyn, she does pretty well. We come back about once a month. For the most part, you wouldn't know that Bailyn had a transplant just looking at her. Watching her go that close to the end and then like, you know, be brought back is just, it's incredible to be able to see like her outlook and like why can't everyone live that positively like Bailyn does?
Yeah, she's a little miracle. How far she's come amazes all of us, amazes us on a regular basis still. She's constantly just thriving. Kelsey's kids, Kennedy and Bailyn, are Jules' little friends. The Schwab family is part of our everyday lives. And if it wasn't for the Ronald McDonald house, I honestly don't think that we would have ever met.